All right, we're back. Man, that is an old-ass picture DeWitt just posted of you, man. I
Right?
gotta say. But he looks fantastically handsome in that BaseTradeTV shirt. Which I guess
Hey.
we'll have to make a new one of because of our new logo and all that at some point. But DeWitt just resubbed as well. Finally, the notification goes through. I don't know if it's bugged or what the deal is, but yeah, he was subbed here for a very long time, 30+ months, and I guess some credit card expiration stuff was a bit of a problem. Sorry to see, man, but big love nonetheless. GW Jones asks, BaseTradeTV, do you get sub money for Twitch Prime subs? Yes. It works exactly like a normal sub, except the nice thing is it doesn't cost you a penny. So it's the sweetest, most awesome donation that, or not donation, excuse me, contribution that you can make. Because it doesn't cost you anything and we benefit from it. Anyways, we found uThermal. They're going to be playing on North America, uThermal versus ByuN here in a moment. Again, the winner of this will go on to fight against Super. The loser will fall to fight against Scarlet. And we will be doing the losers match first, then the winners match, then the finals. Unfortunately for poor uThermal, there's, unless the players agree to do like a coin flip, there's no way we're going to be playing on, I guess, Europe today. Although maybe him versus Scarlet could, because Scarlet plays on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a small, tiny chance.
Central? Yeah, Central. I got it. Shh.
Okay. As videos are finishing now, I guess it should be noted neither of these guys technically have their real names in North America, so just to give you an idea, Thermi is uThermal. I think they should be easy enough to connect, but Speak Now is ByuN, and that looks nothing like ByuN, so some of you may be confused, but this is, he's been using this name for as long as I've known him, frankly, so ByuN is, Speak Now is just synonymous.
Oh yeah, remember about a year ago when we were like, who's the Speak Now guy? Why is he like blazing through all the players? And I'm like,
Yeah, why is he wrecking everyone's stuff? Also, at the same time, though, in fairness, ByuN still hadn't really been restored to the true badass status that he is now back then. Like, ByuN is BlizzCon champion 2016. That's worth noting. But talking back in the day, he was just kind of the Korean barely coming back, right? Like,
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, we're excited to see.
like yay, a Terran!
Yeah, first of all, because it was funny, like TvT, Terran still dominated Lima League up until early to mid Legacy of the Void beta, when we actually didn't have a lot of Terrans, and we were like, where the hell did everyone go?
Yeah.
And then ByuN came back. Ready?
Absolutely. So the prize pool now up to $766. Thank you guys for contributing. We'll be driving that point home a little bit more later as we get into this first game, though. It's on Frozen Temple.
Yeah. I mean, the vetoes, I guess, made sense. It's a TvT. Veto is going to be, of course, just style. Like, which one do you want? Maybe uThermal wouldn't have minded playing on Daslan Station, but ByuN definitely did not. This is his first one.
By the way, DeWitt says you better send me another Partoof coin. I'll tell you what, man, I'll make you a very special exception. If you make it to another 12 months, we'll send you another Partoof coin. All right, I got you. I got
You do
you.
have a lot of Partoof coins.
Yeah.
Especially since we found an entire other bag of the original.
We don't need to know about my terrible. Okay, hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are in game number 1 of a fresh series. Never you mind what that was about. Spawning in the bottom right side, we got the blue Terran player Speak Now, but you all better know him as ByuN.
In the top left, as the red Terran, he is uThermal. Thermi.
Now, funny enough, uThermal, I guess in his scope of things, Terran versus Terran's like in the middle. Like, he loves TVZ nowadays. TvT's like so-so and hates TVP. ByuN's kind of in that same bracket, funny enough. But
Yeah.
I'm still wondering if that's still like a level up, so to speak. ByuN loves TVZ. That's his jam. TvT, he's actually not bad with, but has expressed disinterest in and hates TVP. So again, very similar to that uThermal. I feel like with the amount of games we've seen ByuN play, though, it's always against Ryong or Reality or Alive or just any Terran player in the Ulima League. We know for certain he knows how to play the matchup, and more to the point, can play really long games, really short games. He's very well versed in this matchup.
Yeah. I think it'd be kind of hard to find a Terran who didn't kind of follow that same order, to be honest. A pro Terran, that is. TvZ, TvT, TvP.
You know, back at the start of Legacy, for example, I was the reverse of that. I loved TvP. It was actually my favorite matchup.
Well, yeah, that's why I said pro, but also I'm with you. I actually, even now, I like TvP because I think that Protosses are actually, I think there's like this gap between like low masters and well, kind of professionals to be honest. I think like that's actually where the hardest for Protoss is, and they just need to like, well, not die to like 2 drops because that's kind of what I do and I usually win. Feels good, man. They don't know how to abuse the Adept yet. That's the secret.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, that is the difference of masters and grandmasters, right there. Everyone knows
But this is why I really like everyone pins us as like Protoss haters because I think we can say for sure we were in Heart of the Swarm because Protoss was stupid as shit in Heart of the Swarm, but whatever. The Legacy of the Void actually have and even in Heart of the Storm I had a mass amount of respect for the high tier Protosses. I think that the management they have to do is really insane.
Ooh, this is actually an important pickoff. So one side of this, ByuN picks off the SVU building the command center. It's a little annoying for uThermal, but having killed that Reaper, now uThermal's actually at a pretty big advantage going across the map.
Yeah, it's a little scary. Again, at any point, the 2 Hellion Reaper or 2 Reaper, or 2 Reaper Hellion, I missed that, but it can snowball. Or you can delay a command center even further, right? So he now gets a bit of a head on the command center.
Again, trying to bait uThermal into the base, by the way. uThermal's smart enough not to take the bait. I like that a lot. Not going to kill the command center, but killing the SCV, stalling this out, buying a lot of time, but just being here and being present. Not too bad. The Reaper can actually take on the Hellion, funny enough, especially with the reinforcement one coming in. So looking to put priority on killing that SCV. Hellion chases Hellion top of the ramp. Gonna have a grenade or two maybe, but gonna abandon ship by trying to kill that SCV.
Yeah.
Also,
lots of back and forth there.
It looks like DeWitt's sub finally fixed itself, so it just gave us the 30-month resub notification. Welcome back, DeWitt.
So one thing I wanted to mention is that we were comparing the two on like the preferences and matchups, and just how good ByuN is, right? It's like Global Dipsys champion, like that's pretty awesome. And he beat one of the best TvTers in the world, which is TY, which is pretty damn cool to do so. Spoiler alert? Question mark. But
we've said BlizzCon champion at this point. If they don't know that,
I know, right?
The spoiler goes.
Also, it's totally on them. But anyways. uThermal is like always been to me like I know ByuN says that he invented the 3-wax and he's probably right. I can't remember to be honest. A lot of people were 3-waxing back in the day. But uThermal I would actually say I think I've appreciated uThermal's Reaper micro more than ByuN's to be honest. Both are fantastic. But
we've actually given a bit of criticism too in casts. Like ByuN is amazing in this matchup for a million things, but he always messes up his Reapers.
Yeah, like when it comes to 3-wax Reaper, he's like fine and of course he wins with it, but it's like the 1 Reaper he always looks good. Like it's just like a sign of ByuN. Anyway.
This is really cute damage by the way. Quite a bit going down. Other side of the map, 2 Hellions sneak into uThermal's mineral line, but the Cyclone should be able to clean this up. Not too much issue over here. Meanwhile, 7 SCVs die, and this command center is actually awkwardly enough under some very serious pressure. ByuN doesn't actually have a way to necessarily stop this. The Viking almost dies. There's 2 Marines here, which doesn't seem like much, but a mass repair out of the SCV is his only option at some point. Is going to be to like land the Vikings and fight.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he does. They're pretty poor at engaging tanks, though. They're kind of slow and.
No, but you know what?
Yeah, they clump up together.
They can't clean up the Marines as well as that Reaper that was being a little bit extra annoying. The Marine, of course, is going to be just shooting away at the Vikings. This command center getting dangerously low. ByuN's just got to be like, why is this happening? Why?
ByuN is totally losing. And this is what I was going to go into, just like how much I align these two for being the micro gods of Korea and Europe. I would actually say in TvT, ByuN might be in more, of a trouble in the early and mid game against uThermal than he's ever been versus Reality, Ryung, or Alive.
Okay, so the Cloak was, I think, wishful thinking. He already knew there was 2 Vikings out and a considerable amount of Marines, so going for the Banshee was a little bit risky behind this, but I think he was hoping to still have that tank control to maintain behind going for this follow-up. So I like that the Banshee actually goes for the Marines, and frankly, he might be able to pick off some SCVs, but killing the army guarantees that his army is going to perhaps follow up better, question mark?
Well, when you kill the Marines, you also know almost for sure, not quite, but it really makes you feel better if they're going to try and push out. If they have 10 Marines providing fodder to 2 tanks and 2 Vikings, that's actually a really decent push from ByuN. But if there's no Marines, then it's a little too dangerous for him to do that. So he's just going to be stuck at home. The Banshee's doing much damage, but they're killing kind of important units.
I think she could have suicide on top of the Cyclone.
Yeah, agreed.
The Obroma 1010
Theo Broma. I need to list.
change. Thank you for the Twitch Prime sub.
Well, this Banshee's getting a bit of revenge, and I did say that I think that uThermal...
Quite a bit of revenge.
Yeah, he's not putting the SCV, or turret in the SCV. That uThermal would probably have the advantage a little bit in the early game and the mid game, but I actually expect him to maybe fall off when it comes to the engagement.
Oh, he's not going to get the Banshee. Oh, that's...
Oh, well...
Okay, flies back in the detection.
Yeah. Some of that does have to do with the fact, like, uThermal still has other advantages elsewhere. Like, he did have a supply advantage, like, a minute ago and kind of lost it with 11 SCVs dying, but only down 3 SCVs. He has faster upgrades and faster stim, already on his way to an armory. So that's where his advantage is coming in from the early game, from the faster third CC that's already saturated. So check the graphs, and yeah, he's been winning income advantage.
I mean, yeah, even now, that was just like an evening up tool at best. I don't know how to deal with this though. I banned somebody. Mods, if you could write this down because I didn't write it. Zion's one. Like, we go off topic. I get it, but this is like the one game where we've been pretty on topic for 100% of the game, and we're still getting complaints to cast the game. I just don't understand those kinds of people. So take it for what you will, guys, but don't be bitchy about it.
Sometimes to me it just proves that we have people that they're not listening, they just want to be BM. It's the same people that when they want to say a caster is bad, but they aren't quite able to articulate why, they just hate the guy. They say they don't have game knowledge. I really feel like that sometimes it's true, right? Like, you can work on your knowledge, but it's also like, that's the coverall. Like, well, that caster doesn't know anything about the game. Well, what specifically do you mean? Like, when did I call something correct? Well, like, you called the matchup wrong.
I see that in the same way when people start talking about production for things, because production means very different things to very different people, and
that's true too.
Seems to be a lot more subjective than objective, and it should be objective.
I think that guy was literally like a 50-50 chance that we weren't talking about the game.
Yeah.
He wasn't actually listening.
Thank you to Sturdy Blair for the 13-month resub, by the way. Very much appreciated. Big scan on uThermal's army actually sees everything. It's not much to see, but it does see the upgrades if ByuN was clicking on it. So 1-1 already finished up over here for uThermal. He scans as well, but doesn't actually catch the army that's moving out, which is a bit of an odd army too. A couple of Vikings and a Cyclone or two.
I would say this is a very much so kill the Medivacs army, but it gets caught by the Marines. One thing he didn't want to be caught by. I mean,
bleeding out a couple Marines to Cyclones, who cares? So picking up 3 Vikings, that's huge. A Cyclone to go with it. Wow.
Those Marines, though.
uThermal, when we talk about micro god, I mean, this is where uThermal really shines. Wins the Marine 1v1 fight over here as well. His combat shield's significantly ahead of ByuN's. In fact, I didn't even realize his 2-2 may finish to time out well with that. This is actually such an awkwardly, weirdly great TvT, and a big part of this has to do with uThermal playing it really, really well. I don't think ByuN's slacking, but ByuN may be feeling the burn of the cross-server latencies, but so would uThermal. They're both on North America.
Yeah, this is probably the worst. Well, the best they both can get, and also the worst they both can get. Like,
it's like having medium. 2 Olympians compete at running, but you cut out both their shins. Like,
oh, I was gonna say one's a shot putter and one's like a pole vaulter.
No, because they're both good at what they do. We've just handicapped them a bit.
Oh, okay.
Tank's looking for some shots. Not quite gonna get him. Falls back. It's a little bit dangerous. He doesn't load on top of these ones, but gets that shot the way he needs to. Loses one of his tanks. Unfortunate, but this does distract him. A walk by, a run by of Marines gets to the natural base. He's gonna shred so many SCVs. ByuN's in a lot of trouble. The commands are still low from earlier. If he hadn't responded to this, uThermal may have killed the base even.
Yo. So uThermal's been doing this recently, right? Like in all the matchups, actually.
The walk-bys, yeah.
Yeah, the walk-bys. I'm so mad though. I used to do these in Heart of the Swarm, and people always told me like, you know, why wouldn't you bring Medivacs? And in some cases, bringing Medivacs actually would be better. Because imagine if he picks up those 10 Marines and he comes back later, he might send the CC. Absolutely true. But he also might just lose 2 Medivacs, and you know that in that way he also doesn't have to micro them, so he can pay attention elsewhere. It's funny. It looks a little silly sometimes, but so far it's been effective.
For almost 1 full minute, uThermal's gonna have a massive upgrade lead. These 2-2 over 1-1, because it's also leading to level 3, but more on that afterwards. If he can actually find a straight up fight, I mean, look at that. Look, he wrecked the Marine so hard.
Oh. And that tank wrecked the Marine. But yeah, no, it's true. Like, this upgrade is big because it's not them maxing up on 3 bases anymore. Like, they are prepared to fight each other. The upgrade will totally come into effect.
Well, the tanks do completely distract the Marines, but uThermal doesn't move in with that distraction. He could have killed this command center pretty easily. I feel it's going to scan and go for it now. Sees no army waiting for him. Big stim, big pickoff. Command center is going to have to get canceled.
Yeah, just instantly canceled. It's still very dangerous what uThermal is doing. At any time, he could lose the medevacs that are carrying very important parts of his army.
Yeah.
All of his Marines or all of his tanks. Like, that's a pretty big giveaway either way. But he's controlling it well enough so far.
Yeah, a big part of this is the fact that he isn't being complacent. It reminds me of the Phoenix dynamic. You got like 18 Phoenix, but you leave them AFK for a second and the Hydras get under them. Kind of similar to what's happening here with those tanks. Like, if uThermal stops paying attention for even just the wrong 1 second, he could lose all of those medevacs and all those tanks. However, now he's going to have to finally defend. ByuN comes with a very concentrated push down the middle of the map. 2-2's finished up, so the only upgrade uThermal currently has is for his tanks, but they're not here and not firing.
Base trade? uThermal's not going back with this.
No, he's going to bring the tanks up to the high ground, I guess, and try and hold up his natural, but the big swell of Marines is going straight across the map, and I think he knows ByuN doesn't have much. ByuN's rushing back home to defend, realizing this is the case. A couple of tanks is not much, though, and these Marines should be able to just stim on top of this. If he holds up over here for the SCVs, that'll be bad. He's got to go for the tanks. He's got to go for the fight. Spreads out on the left side. Goes for the Marines. Kills them all. Now just the tanks and the SCVs remain. But does he have enough Marines? And it's looking like that's not going to be the case. uThermal, on the other hand, is getting wrecked back at home.
Looks like he lost the command center, which I think was forfeit at this point. uThermal already on 3 of the command centers. They're, I think, building one. That's not that bad of a loss. His army supply is still similar.
You know, his leapfrogging tanks might actually be not too bad. If he keeps the refineries alive, he can actually just transfer the main over, and that won't be too bad considering where we're at in the game. Unloads 2 Marines on top of these tanks, slowly but surely trying to chip away at them. Advances his tanks forward, though, realizing the tanks are inside the medevacs. He's going to go for the push to try and break this, but he gets away from his own tanks. Might be a bit of a problem. He will take out a decent amount of the Marines. But keep in mind while this went on, ByuN didn't lose production. ByuN lost only a couple of SCVs. Both players down on low worker count, but uThermal has no army on the right side of the map to respond to this attack coming out of ByuN, where his brand new command center was just built.
Yeah, he could probably save that, though. Yeah, he is. Stimming into the planetary, of course, would have lost ByuN a couple of the Marines that are very important to cover his tanks.
uThermal's suddenly in a better position again, albeit maybe only for a small amount of time. On one hand of this, he really didn't lose too many tanks. It is still, he's actually got the tank lead, 10-5. That being said, though, my focus goes on the Marines that have the +3 weapon upgrades. Pause, please. Just wait a second. Going over the income graphs while we're waiting, though. I mean, again, this has been uThermal's income game, despite all of what's been going on. Oh, did they just try to unpause it? I guess, and it timed out awkwardly with you. Chat asking, by the way, about if they missed Scarlet, and super unfortunately, yes, you did. And unfortunately, it was a very quick 2-0. That being said, Scarlet will be playing next in the losers match. But we got to finish this best of 3 first to see who she plays. Top of the ramp, though, looks good for ByuN. uThermal's going to go in a little bit brazenly, a little bit too brazenly, I'd say. Tanks do unload. There's a lot of freaking tanks, but there's not enough Marines to buffer for the tanks. So to the slaughter they go, and uThermal in a lot of trouble. His army supply still remains nice behind this, but a lot of that's in medevacs and not in fighting units.
That is a very good point.
He's on 11 medevacs.
That is a very, very good point. You know, if you take a fight like that and you get below 100 supply, you might actually be a little, like, tempted to tap out. So it's a little deceiving that he's still over 100.
Oh, walk by down here, though. Once again, with that medevac comes on in. Kills a couple of the SCVs, really nothing too major. ByuN's also caught up in upgrades at this point.
Right. And plus your armor, both similar. I mean, uThermal still has that +1 tank upgrade, which was really important. They also lost tanks. But he has 2 factories production, which is really important after losing those tanks. And is definitely going to be important as the game goes on. If it's going to continue being scrappy like this, then tanks could be the kingmaker, basically. Like, they should probably have been for uThermal on the defense of the first kind of base trade that happened, but for how powerful they are, they're also hard to micro correctly.
Are you kidding me? How did these get back in here? There's Marines, like, right there a second ago. Alright, uThermal look at the concave, collapse, and get on top of the third base. Lifts immediately. ByuN's not going to waste any time with this. SCV's held up in the back line. There's a couple of tanks down. He's focusing on the command center, though. Not sure if that's the right choice. Goes for the tanks to lift up, put up the main. Now he's just got to fight what's on the ground, and there's not that much remaining. GG. uThermal's going to be the one to take game number 1.
Very good TvT.
It is. It's going to feel like it's going to keep being a very good TvT. Alright guys, this is where I gotta get down dirty on my hands and knees and beg and ask. You check out the prize pool for this. It's a Matcherino page, which means you can increase the prize pool not just for the players, but also the payout for our moderators today. I know some of you may not be in favor of the moderators getting a small cut of the money, but this day is dedicated to them. These players were invited on their behalf because they're who they requested, and we do so love the moderators of BaseTradeTV. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So please consider hitting up that Matcherino page. That being said, we're going to go to a small commercial break. We'll get into game number 2. Do stick around, and we'll see you soon. Alright, hey folks, we are going to get into game number 2 here on Frost. Unfortunately, the colors are not going to be too color blind friendly, so please don't take it personally, friends. We just didn't notice until the game was already underway. So, surprisingly, and I'm going to really stand by that statement, surprisingly down one game, introducing in the top right side of the map, the blue Terran player, ByuN.
In the top left, as the teal Terran, he is liquid uThermal.
Okay, so uThermal up a game, I don't think is like we're living in Bizarro world. This wasn't something that I didn't see coming and is impossible, but still nice to have had happen, albeit unlikely, as ByuN is still, I think, the favorite. In fact, I'm going to look at the bets, and I'm kind of worried. Look at the
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah. It's 33,000 Partoofs on ByuN, 2,800 on uThermal. So if uThermal wins this series, a couple people are gonna be very, very Partoof rich after this.
Yeah. Good job choosing the underdog, guys. Well,
Yeah.
I do think that it makes sense for the Partoofs betting to look like that. It also kind of doesn't. Like, uThermal was one of the guys that had the greatest chance, I would say. In a TvT.
I was gonna say, I think I rank Super a little bit above uThermal in terms of being able to beat ByuN, but in terms of this matchup, yeah, sure. I do want to just kind of mention, someone's asking how to donate, and some people making jokes about the moderators, guys. I want to make some things very clear. First off, if you would like to donate to the prize pool / moderator pool, !Matcherino. You can get set up on that page, and if you have any problems with that, do ask somebody in chat. I'm sure they can help you. Now, as far as being a moderator and the sarcasm and getting paid and all this, guys, you gotta understand, we've been doing this for 3 years, and our mods have been with us. Most of our mods have been with us for at least 1 year or longer. And they've volunteered. Every day that we're live with StarCraft, they're here with us. It's not always the same people, and it's not always the same one guy who's around every single day, but people like Dominch show up more often than not. And I really, really do want to just, this day's dedicated to them. So if we can contribute whatever we can, give them a bit of love, I'll be very happy. And if you guys who are viewing the stream are feeling the same way, they make the chat awesome. They keep all the trolls out, the spam links gone. They do everything that makes the BaseTradeTV community the chat that it is.
Also, if you guys could just, like, stay in line, that'd be great, too. Give them a day off. Gosh darn.
Yeah, the people who aren't being dicks get a special shout out too. Thank you. Anyways, ByuN has amassed quite a few Reapers, and while we do like to criticize his Reaper play, this is really going to be put to the test. uThermal, however, opened with a reactor on this, so he's going to have a couple Hellions out, but again, Hellions aren't the automatic counter to Reapers that they once were.
Well, you know, uThermal scouted ByuN really quickly and saw a 2-rack, so he anticipated this, first of all, like, mentally prepared, and he also was lucky that ByuN had not scouted him first.
Oh, I don't think ByuN saw the Hellions, by the way.
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of clever things going on, and lucky things too, because, like, uThermal actually had a couple extra seconds to prepare and have these Hellions out in a good position against Reapers. This is bold, though. Oh, that was too bold.
So, yeah, he saw the reactor and the Hellions, but I don't think he knew about the actual Hellion number. But now 4 of them out. It's going to start, like, 1 and 2 shotting these Reapers. ByuN does bring his own Hellion over, but it's not going to quite cut it. Rocks on fire? Okay, that's a thing.
There's, like, moss in there. This isn't the worst thing in the world for ByuN, though. Like, I mean, the point is, uThermal, because he scouted what he did, he put his command center in the high ground, so it like, just comes down now and is going to send SCVs to it. And that's a round where at least ByuN is going to be able to send his SCVs, because he's actually up 2 SCVs. Obviously, he'll have to wait for the Mule from the orbital, but it's not the worst thing in the world that his opener did not do devastating amounts of damage, because sometimes the opener can win straight up, especially if it's unscouted. The uThermal even uses a scan here, which is like asking a Terran to like chop off their own leg to see if he's gonna go for Banshees, just to make sure that his Banshees don't kill him, basically, because he doesn't have a Cyclone yet. But he doesn't, and he can very comfortably go to his Banshees first.
By
He
the
doesn't
way,
even really need the Cyclone, but he's gonna get it.
so semi-serious question about the status of these players, by the way. Yeah, uThermal, we got to see him at BlizzCon, kind of cool to see him hang out, but he wasn't really like being a big competitor there. ByuN, on the other hand, actually straight up won BlizzCon. Does that fall into the category that the rest of StarCraft 2 does, though, where it doesn't mean much despite being a big title? Like, you know, you could fall off the map next week after winning a DreamHack. You fall off the week following a BlizzCon, right?
Yeah, there's just too many variables in StarCraft itself and like how it changes day to day, but also just between offline, online, server, to be like, well, ByuN won one thing, so he should win everything else. Although he does usually win everything else.
This sort of weird concave ends up turning around to uThermal. It started off really good. I think if he had just held position, he would have destroyed this. But now the Marines are out and the Cyclone comes too. That Viking's going to die.
Well,
Cyclone for Cyclone on the ground. uThermal pushes this back, and he destroys ByuN. He may actually be able to counter. ByuN's only going to have like one siege tank out.
He definitely should. With the Banshee here, she could kite against like 4 of the Marines at least, but you know she has cloak already too, so she could probably just kill the Marines or the tank, either one. This could be some more SCVs killed, but I don't think it's going to be game ending. But it was a mistake for ByuN, I think, to push into that like he did, and it was very fortunate uThermal did get a Cyclone out, because that ensured he was going to kill that Viking. It ends up not being so bad. ByuN preemptively scans with the Banshee too, so she didn't get any damage done, and it kind of like swaps one questionable fight to another.
The SCV repair was so very important to keep that Cyclone alive. But okay. He falls back. He keeps the Banshee up, which is going to be nice. Let's look at some use out of this, maybe. Top left side, though, is going to be dropped by 2 tanks and 8 Marines. This is a bit of an old school drop, I will say. But with the Banshee hitting across the map, will he turn that around to defend, or will he just keep going? I mean, there are turrets down already.
I think it'd be better to bring it back. His tank's nowhere near closing in on actually coming out here. And if it was already prepped in Siege, I think he could kind of get away with the Banshee going across the map, but it's not. His production went down. I don't even think he noticed 2 medevacs.
Oh, yeah, he may have flown by them but not realized what was there. Banshee gonna get focused by the Marines. If it kept running away, it might just live.
Oh, okay, but it's not too useful. This might be a game-ending drop. Like, when uThermal traded across the map, he was down half the army supply. Now he's down, well, almost a third. Yep, more than that now.
That one lone Marine that had lived, by the way, just killed that Banshee. Feels bad, because she would have cleaned this up so easily. Tank gonna just fall back for the time being, I guess. Maybe use a bit of range against it. Other side of the map, I do not believe Banshees did anything at all, so it is probably gonna be ByuN's game. 4-1 on the army supply. He's got an upgrade advantage, too.
Yeah, lots of swapping back and forth. Of course, ByuN did hold off on his 3rd command center, and that's why he has a good army lead, but of course also just taking good engagements, and that's probably going to give enough, yeah, exactly, to follow up.
GG.
Game.
Alright, ties it up. I guess ByuN perhaps just plays better when he's down a game in a series.
Of course.
That's actually been a pretty common thing for him over the year.
Well, the last map is going to be Galactic Process. The winner of this will face the Super Duper.
Yeah, and the loser will go to fight Scarlet, and of course that'll be playing like right away. I may have clicked a YouTube video, so you guys may hear sound. Let's mute that. Close that. There we go.
Join.
Yep, on my way.
Join.
I got super clickbaited by Grace Helbig. Let me close this.
Oh, I was gonna say you didn't dare click on one of those Skype links.
No. I'm
Judging.
so done with people. Oh my god. Like, again, when it was like 1 or 2 people, I get it. But it has been like pro players, industry experts. There's actually somebody who owns their own small business that clicked on it, and I'm just thinking like, okay, you guys, I get it. Like 1 or 2 you did this, but at this point, now that we're like a month into this weird virus that keeps spreading on Skype, like someone must have hit you with this by now, and you've seen the repercussions, or you've had to redo it, and like you still click this. Like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah.
I'm worried
I feel
that
like we need
whatever...
like Crime Dog to be like cybersecurity starts with you.
Well, I'm just worried that the terrible. I'm worried that whatever accident they've done to click it, despite being responsible adults, is going to happen to me, right? Like, I know better, but that doesn't mean I won't misclick it because the
You're gonna get
tabs
smarter.
forward or something.
the bot's actually watching you right now. Is going to send you a link that's like, look at this Grace Helbig video.
That would be one way to get me to click it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Game number 3. It's tied up 1-1 here in the preliminary part of the group stage. Bottom left is going to be the blue Terran player, Speak Now, better known as ByuN.
In the top right, as the red Terran, he is uThermal. Right there, me.
All right, and we're back to red versus blue, so hopefully a little bit easier for you guys to watch. Again, apologies, but that game was so micro-intensive, I think it was easy to tell. If that had been a big macro game where it's like Marine versus Marine on like 60 or 70, then yeah, that probably would have been terrible. Luckily, it wasn't too bad. Anyways, ByuN, Speak Now, whatever you want to know him as, playing really well to bring this back. I was worried, though, because the start of that last game was honestly not great for him. And I think if uThermal played that just ever so slightly better, he may have ended up taking a 2-0 over the BlizzCon champion.
Yeah, if he didn't get... I mean, we thought he was going to get a good counterattack, too, but if he didn't counterattack at all, or he quickly realized it wasn't going to work and just very safely use, like, his Banshees and his Cyclone, and Cyclone in the middle of the map, have the Banshees poking and prodding, wasting scans... He certainly has enough to defend, I would say. And then his third CC is like way, way ahead. But because he gave away so much so early, it's difficult to recover.
By the way, I have to give some serious props to Alaska Winter 923. They just donated $50 to the moderator prize pool.
Woo!
Awesome stream, awesome casters, awesome mods. Nailed it on all 3 topics, man. Shark Dog 58 donates $30 as well, so no small amount over there. Says awesome stream as usual. To tie in with CPP Maniac, they counted the rotors and waited for us to arrive. I don't get that reference, but I hope your friend does. Either way, thank you for contributing $30.
Right.
And then Gabriel JCX123 donated $4 of his hard-earned cash. So thank you guys so much. Bringing the prize pool up to $850 even. And of course, 50% of that will go to the moderators. The rest will be divvied up among the players, and all 4 players today will get a portion of that prize pool. Right. First place is like whatever. We know first place is getting money. The real question is, what do the third and fourth place get? What do the people who drop out of the group get? And that's going to be approximately $40.
Okay.
Not bad. That's twice as much as second place in the Corsair Cup.
There you go. Hopefully it will continue growing thanks to you guys. We have another scuffle of a very late... This is a very common little attack with the Hellions and the Reapers. So it's expected, but it can still snowball. As you see, I mean, ByuN takes the initial good engagement and immediately tries to counterattack. The ramp should be enough for uThermal to be okay, of course, and worst case scenario, he loses some CC timing. Oh, the grenade was actually a little weird. Ends up hitting only one of the Hellions, and he will lose out on 2 SCVs and his CC, and oh god no, he didn't go up all the way at the ramp, and his Hellions are so low. Oh, Doki, that's a little scary. The Reapers are the ones that are alive, and of course they're the ones that are gain health again.
Yeah, the Hellion, if it dies, doesn't even mean he can still deal with this. The 2 Reapers can be super annoying. Command Center under fire. He's gotta wait. I like that he's waiting too, because he has to. Tank's about to pop out, and now he should be able to push this off, finish up that CC, and go right back to work. But dang, this got scary for a moment.
Yeah, his Reaper should probably just bypass this and try and get a couple grenades in the main.
Oh, I like this.
Not that
repositions the tank so you can try and catch the units on their way out. That's clever.
Yeah, but like I said, like ByuN should probably just use the Reapers to go in. So that's one thing that's unfortunately uThermal did not expect, and he won't lose too many Reapers. But if there was like a Banshee follow-up from ByuN, getting these half health was totally worth. Yeah, SCVs.
Everybody dance. SCV's getting quite low. A little bit scary over here.
It's not even just that he killed 3 SCVs, but getting all of them off the mineral line is a pretty damn big deal.
And all of them within that possible one-shot range, whether it's splash damage from a tank or the Banshee system they were picking it off. I would like to remind everybody, too, by the way, while we're doing all this awesome hype stuff and you're helping us raise some money for some good causes over here, there's also a giveaway going on. ! Giveaway in chat. You're going to be like, Rifkin, why are you laying this on so thick? But really, over the next 9 days, this is the last day we really get to stream, so... Last day for us to really advertise said giveaway. We do want to give away cool stuff. We want as many of you guys to enter as possible. Don't forget as well, by clicking the sponsor links, they will refresh once daily, so you can enter in multiple times through those.
It's a really cool site. I really like that it's so easy to use.
Yeah, and it tracks stats, which is good for us too, by the way. This giveaway is not even just purely like like generosity. It actually helps us too. We'll talk more on that later. Tank gonna come in for the fight though. He's got 2 tanks to defend with. We'll see if it's good enough. The Marines are the bigger problem here. The Cyclone is kind of whatever. The tank and the Viking are whatever. It's the Marines that are a huge issue. Spam repair on the tank. Not gonna get it. Medevac going down. All the tanks in the red. This looks bad.
Oh, I guess that tank is actually in range. Oh no, it was the Marines that. Oh my god, the Marines had the other tank too. Oh my god. This is snowballed. ByuN, I think, is gonna tend to take the 2-1.
Yeah.
Losing.
It's getting really out of hand. I mean, the command center is getting so low. He's got to repair this up. He doesn't have a lot on deck. I think he's hoping the Banshee might save him. The second one, that is, because the first one's heading right across the map. There's turrets down, though, and uThermal's not going to get the kills. He needs to repay this damage. Down 14 workers and possibly a command center. I mean, oh my gosh. There's more coming out of ByuN, too. That wasn't it. 2 more tanks.
Yeah, this is... The Banshee would have to kill, like, 20... probably 30 SCVs to go back to this game. He would have to severely cripple the economy because his army just isn't really working out against ByuN's. 1 tank and had a medevac does miracles, but without it, not so much. Oh, the Banshee's gonna be able to pin this up. Back. That's nice. Almost got the medevac too. Would have been even nicer, but the Banshee is not doing that much damage. He does even up the army supply, but now he's just down 15 workers.
The Banshee's still dancing around over here. I think there's always a little bit of hope as long as this lives. It's picking off production, which is going to be annoying. Viking should kill this pretty much. There we go. That almost gotten out of range, though.
Yeah, that would have been better. uThermal kind of desperately, I would say, pushing with a very, very small amount of units. Extremely small. I'm not sure what exactly he's expecting from that. Because even if he got up against the ledge, which is usually in a abusive position, there's not a lot to protect tanks. Okay, hello. So another 2 free SCV kills. So he's only down 10 workers.
Wololo, wololo, wololo. Thank you to Bulleyes? I want to say Bullseye reading that. It's so hard not to. Thank you for the new sub, though. Yay!
These 2 SCVs are a killer, man. Seriously, now uThermal's only down 10 workers. But also down a 3rd CC in upgrades. If you can make that up too, that'd be great.
Well, the Banshee does pull in over here on the side to pick off a tank, and unfortunately for you, like I really like the idea of this, right? The idea of picking off tanks, picking off the Marines. Oh my god, that deny. That last second, like, missile was on its way to it, deny. Because of Mule, not bad. Again, the income war is going to definitely be favoring ByuN quite a bit, but only recently did it really take a big dive. And I think a lot of that has to do with the 3rd CC being up rather than necessarily uThermal being down.
Well, that Banshee did more than I thought it would. It's just that ByuN probably thought the harassment was over and didn't save a scan. Still not quite enough. uThermal at this point would need like a really good drop, but unfortunately he doesn't have the units for a drop or the upgrade stim for a drop. Stimless Marines and a drop is maybe 5 SCVs. But with Stim, like 15 SCVs, they chase after it. It's a big difference. Okay. That Banshee is not long for this world. There we go. Unfortunate, because that also could have been used to come back and try and save Thermal from the tanks.
Unsieged tanks are an odd thing to see, but they have been best used by uThermal over the last year. That's not sarcasm, that's actual truth.
Yeah, I know.
SCV's getting pulled on top of the tanks is when you know times are getting desperate and times are getting rough. Vikings landing on the ground, though, do pick off those SCVs. These tanks are choked up, and this... Oh, well, I guess we can't walk through the geyser there. Today we all learned.
Yeah, right? That almost was a beautiful hold. Like, him landing his Vikings, realizing he was going to win that war anyway. If ByuN hadn't responded immediately, maybe he does lose the tanks, and then he loses his Vikings. But ByuN, of course, is paying attention. GG.
Well, I will say this before we get out of the game. I thought uThermal played pretty darn well in this series, and honestly, that first game was quite convincing. But dang, those bets would have been insane if uThermal had won.
They would have. I forgot about that. Well, We're still stuck with our Korean overlords. The foreigners drop down to losers.
That being said, there will be a Korean versus foreigner in the finals, guaranteed by that too, though. So we'll get a little bit extra. But this next match is going to be the losers match. It'll be Scarlet versus uThermal. We'll get that started in a moment. I would like to comment on something though that was said during that last game, and this is actually not. This is said with no salt, but just explanation. I can't remember who it was, Risky or somebody in chat, was basically depicting the way we skip past this talk here, where we would recap about the game, and then wait to talk about it in the next game. Here's my thoughts on this, and this is not, again, this is not meant to be salt, but this is just sharing the way I think through this. On our channel, one of the things we've mastered, I would say, over every other channel, and I will say this with bold pride, like, we're better than it at TvT, we're better than it at OGaming, we're better than it at everybody else, is like, we're good at minimizing the downtime and not wasting time, so to speak. So, for example, you could get the in-game recap, and we could spend 5 minutes discussing some of the stuff that happened in that last game. And in some cases, we will when it's really, really exceptionally cool. But I'd say 90 to 95% of the time, it's not. And it's just, it's stuff to recap people for those who didn't see the game. If you joined just now and you need a TLDR, that's how I view a lot of that most of the time. Because most of the time, nothing super exceptional, clip-worthy, highlight-worthy happens. So to bring that into the next game, we can either sit there moseying and talking about, oh, he's building a barracks. Now he's putting an SUV on gas, or we can inform people, right? And in that time period that we don't quote-unquote waste doing that, that's when we run our commercials. So instead of creating...
Marauders! It should shoot up. That's all I'm saying.
It's very rude of me to interrupt you.
Yeah, that's very rude of you to interrupt me. My point of this basically is we don't create downtime for commercials. We instead use the time that's already available for commercials to eliminate the downtime. So... you might be thinking, like, Riffy, what a waste of time you're doing right now. You've just spent 2 minutes talking about this. This is when we would have run a commercial, and the game would have started right this second. However, that's just, it's time inefficient, I guess, is the best way I can phrase that. It's not that we don't want to be here all day, guys. I'll gladly sit here for cast 8 hours, 12 hours, like we did for the home circuit qualifiers and you name it. But I think a lot of you guys would rather see games than us talking about what you just saw inside games. That's my opinion. If you guys feel very strongly otherwise, I'm willing to take that feedback and I'm willing to adjust how we do things, but it's worked out pretty well for us for the past couple years. Now that being said, we do have to do vetoes with Scarlet and uThermal, so do stick around. Don't go anywhere. We're going to go to the commercial break. Before we do, quick reminder, ! giveaway. Enter into the giveaway. You can win a lot of really cool free stuff here on BaseTradeTV, and also ! Matcherino to check out the prize pool for the tournament, but also possibly consider contributing a couple of bucks towards the moderators here at BaseTradeTV. Whether it's, you know, the Ting Open, which is coming up Season 3, by the way, or anything small like us playing co-op, or whether it's us casting the Corsair Cup, the mods are here and they make your chat experience better for you. They run bets, they do all these things, and it's all volunteer. So today is really for them more than anything else. So thank you to the mods of BaseTradeTV. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.